Hello everyone, good evening. This is Dr. Rao. Uh, we are back onto our wellness series, One Tip a Day. This is day 16, and this is something almost everybody agrees probably. Um, it's like listening to the favorite music, and it has got a lot of consequences that people may feel good, but they don't realize the good things that happens to them, right? Um, First of all, emotional regulation is very common, and of course, stress reduction very common, and some people's cognitive performance enhances because they are able to focus better with the music going on. Of course, memory is enhanced, and also there are physical health benefits in terms of immune system functions better. You know, of course, there is a spiritual connection. I will talk more about that from the ancient perspective, how they express themselves in music. Um, so we can do a lot of things about the music. We create playlists, and then we kind of make some breaks for the music itself. Several of them. I'll bring them all of them today. So this is a series where we don't want to make it too complicated, but then just to revamp what we are doing. So I'm sure everybody has some music that they could do. For me, I have this Indian classical music I like, and also I like the jazz music. My son is a jazz musician. He plays trumpet, so I took a lot more interest in jazz. Before I used to listen a little bit, but then I came to know more about jazz music and understand and also enjoy more, right? And of course, his compositions, his performances, and all that. I was deeply involved with that. And I even talked to the teacher about allowing his spontaneity and creativity rather than making him just follow the routines, right? I think he took it off after I had a talk with his music teacher about this, and their music teacher agreed with me. And we don't mind them learning somebody else's composition, that's okay. But don't suppress when you are the creative urge and they want to create by themselves. That's what I did with my son. So, and also I saw that jazz series on the public channel. Um, I'm not getting his name, but he's very popular. And I enjoyed immensely his contribution with the jazz. There's something that appealed to me with the jazz music was it came out of souls that were suffering. But then they were suffering, they were getting music out of that suffering. And then that's what they call them blues, right? Not everything, but most of it, I think. So that kind of thing really appealed to me, and I wanted to deep into reflection on that, right? So that is something I would really say something important. Now, the ancient texts of Samaveda, that is one of the Vedas in the very, very, very old texts and all that, they have these 64 types of arts: music, dance, sculpting, painting, you name it, right? They have 64 types of art that human beings could pursue, and also how they can evolve through the music and how they can evolve this ecstasy of rendering music because they were doing out of their love for the Lord or whatever their God is. And then it was really frowned upon if you want to claim credit for yourself, but rather put your ego outside and then perform just for the performance's sake, and also did not expect anything in return. That was huge in India. Even now, some people go to that extent where it's called rasa siddhi. Rasa means that ecstatic feeling that you have when you are immersed in a number, right? So we may experience music for a while, but these people do it for the sake of really getting into the ecstatic whatever, not because they want some high, but because they when they experience that, it's an immense blissful feeling and ecstasy too, without any drugs or anything like that, right? I was very fascinated by a story I heard sometime. uh, there is this great emperor Akbar. I think everybody knows about Akbar, in a Muslim king. He was there, and he had this penchant for nurturing artists, encouraging them, and giving them all sorts of things so that they can really focus on making their art much more usable, or much more perfect, whatever. Right. So he was a big proponent of nurturing these artists. And there was one great musician, and he kind of plays wonderful music. He sings actually, Thompson, his name is. He was asked one time by Akbar, "Hey, Thompson, you make such a beautiful music. Do you know anybody else that play better than you?" And then Thompson said to him, um, I have my guru, my teacher, who does a wonderful rendering of music, and I always go and listen to him. So then Akbar says, Tansen, you should bring him here. We should ask him to play for us. Then the Tansen replies, no, sir, he won't come to for anybody. He won't sing for anybody. But I want to listen to him. You are saying he's such a great singer. Then he says, you have to go to the forest where he is residing. And in the mornings, he gets up and sings, and then we can listen to him. So they go there, and Akbar, and they are not seen by his teacher, right? And then they settle down secretly, and then they listen to him as he's singing song by himself. And he was beautiful, wonderful rendition. And then Akbar also agreed, and he was moved. And he said, "How is that? How is that possible that he could sing so well compared to you guys?" And then he said, "Sir, he sings for his king, which is the Lord, the God, but I sing for my king." So that kind of unselfish, naturally ebbing from within you, that is a very, very wonderful feeling for him. And he doesn't expect anything, but uh, he does feel the ecstasy, because he was going to the perfection of the music, right? So music is really from the soul, I believe, right? You can compose, you can be clever about it, but then when it's composed into the mathematical scale, some of them I do practice even now, because I'm not a singer or anything, but I practice these ancient, beautifully composed numbers, right? There's one called Gayatri Mantra. So the effect of it, I can see it by myself right away. See, I have this tendency to have a lot of secretions accumulate in my throat, right? I think for everybody does, but for me a little bit more. So I wanted to clear that. But when I'm rendering this Gayatri mantra, I'm just doing it for the meaning's sake. What it is, it asks the super, God or whatever, the higher energies, give us intellect that is sharp, not just for me, but everybody, so that we can understand the world, the people, and everything better, so that we will come from the higher intellect rather than my selfish intellect. That kind of thing. But it has a lot of meaning. I'm just generalizing for the purpose, right? But anyway, that is known to have several benefits for us. But direct benefit for me is when I wake up in the morning, my throat may be, kind of thick and kind of having secretions. The mechanical effect of the rendering that kind of composition clears my throat completely. It's a question of vibrations according to the scale of that. So some of these ancient songs, they were composed on the divine scale, maybe. It's a perfect scale, probably. I'm not a musician, so I don't know, but I know the effects of it. But the people who compose the scale, they kind of swear by them. They say they have very, very wonderful scales and they are very suited. And there was something else also I experimented because it was presented to me, a physician actually, but he uses music as a therapy, right? For depression, for anxiety, for lack of sleep, all those things I know that they were doing. And the weirdest story I heard was there was this chief minister of a state. He was in coma, so what they did was they kind of played this beautiful music for him all night, and he got up in the morning. Maybe that is coincidental. I don't know, but they claim a lot of things about the music therapy. ADHD, I saw kids that were treated with love and music. They were much more receptive to us than they were resistant before. And then they got better with other things too. But it's a love-based musical. And if you are a composer, if you are somebody who is playing music, and these old people were, in the nursing home, and they were kind of not really able to remember things, or not able to do something and all that. But they remembered how to play their instrument and their music. The moment they got these five people together and asked them to go to the instruments, they gladly took it, and then all the music came to them, and they played beautiful concert. But after that, they were again the forgetful, demented patient. So there is no doubt about it. Music has wonderful effects on spirituality. That's why what you do is don't casually listen to music, but then make time for it, right? For me, the music is those birds that are chirping. That's what I listen to, that nature, right? But of course, I told you, Indian classical music and jazz music are my choices. I kind of respond to that. And then a lot of musicals we see because many of the Indian languages have these movies, like in 40s and 50s, Hollywood has a lot of musical composition, right? Like that, even now to this day, Indian movie means there will be some musical composition. You know what? The ones that were really composed on the ancient classical ragas, they call the tunes, right? They are still popular. That means the ones who have composed them, they have a very beautiful inner self. Whereas the modern music may seem attractive in the beginning, but it pales off. It's the longevity of the ancient music because the person who is composing, he's not doing out of some intellect or some really expert learning of the music that may be valid, but then this is from their inner self of establishing in the soul from the mind. See, that's why that teacher of Tamsin, when he said, my teacher prays for his Lord, for the God, not for any human being, whereas I play for my king. So it's a kind of higher goal and not really thinking about fame or money or any recognition and all that. That's one thing I noticed in the ancient wisdom. Many things I saw. People who built temples, they never etched their name that I built this temple, right? People who built sculptures, they didn't put it there. And people who ruled and then they made the people's life very, very, beautiful, they did not put their name. So it's a kind of transcending the so-called ego sense, like we have here, in the modern time. That's what is ruling us, right? So you miss the inner um, sanctity, inner purity when we are contaminated with the desires of the ego. So that much is clear. But then when you really listen to music, what happens with the music? We kind of become very tranquil. That is the emotional tranquility I talked about, and also we relate to the sensitivity of the poet or sensitivity of the musician, right? So the more you don't think of yourself, the more you immerse in the rendition, I think the more you get the relief of the ego demands and all that. So I think that's very clear to me. So it does help. Like, for example, there is this poet. I was actually talking about this morning with my sister in India and with my wife here. We three get together in the morning and we do an association of good people where we kind of try to elicit the spiritual meaning of these renditions, right? In this one, he's a devotee of his Lord, but then he writes about the social problems and why a human being, instead of realizing who he is, which is the life purpose of human intelligence, he kind of gets stuck in this ego battles and all those things, right? And that is so beautifully composed. Even after, I think it's 500 years ago, he wrote this, but he wrote 33,000 poems, and some of them are still surviving, and they're still very popular. See, that's not the only person, though. I have seen several dohas. Doha means two-liners. They write these two-liners, in fact, with a lot of meaning. You can dissect and think about it. But then they're all tunes composed to beautiful music. I think mainly because people don't understand the deeper meaning, but they don't care about it too. But unless you explain to them, like this song, my sister and my wife heard it so many times, but they did not know the meaning. When I told them the meaning, this is basically this: if you see what the ancient believed was, humans have this intelligence where they don't want to live just to eat, just to survive, but they know as a human being, you can evolve with him. You want to find out, you want to grow with him, and all that, right? And that, what is the problem with that is there are so many obstacles that prevent us from becoming that. It says, for example, you see, look at me, instead of engaging in realizing my inner self, I get become a foodie. Instead of food being the necessity and something that you want to not to be psychologically dependent and get all the problems, you should eat just to uh, survive and do something more important, right? Uh, but what happens is I give importance to the food. I give importance to the pleasures in my life, and I give more like what can I get out of this, rather I don't spend time on learning the deeper significance of the knowledge and also really understand what's going on in my mind and how I project that and all that. So, in a way, when you have the very silent mind, very much not demanding so many things, you are naturally happy and you have less suffering. Okay. So he sings those things and then says, all these illusions I go after, but I don't go after the real thing. you know. So the important thing is the song is tuned to something composition that attracts everybody. They listen to it even though they don't know the meaning because they're pretty deep usually. Unless you take an academic interest, your intellectual curiosity, and then really know the issues involved in life, like why suffering, how can you get rid of suffering, all those things. Only people like that, it will be very apparent. Otherwise, it is not. Okay. So I also got a lot of clarity by paying attention, understanding, and listening to it, and also digging deep into it. And when I'm talking to my family members, my friends, and other people, things become much clearer to me. So that's an advantage for us when you come and you don't say, I know about it, I'm going to tell you. No, you want to share what you felt, what you understood, so that other people also can contribute or can enlighten you sometimes, right? That happened to me too. So there are people, these are called Advaitins. Advaitins means they are they're talking about oneness, right? And these people are pretty deep. And when you listen to them, they always sing whatever they are saying. They sing, and when they sing, it's so beautiful. They don't even have to have any instrument. They just sing like that. They and then they sing so kind of lost in the ecstasy of that particular rhyme or particular tune. So don't underestimate music. Have the music. Even listen to the music in the nature, and all that is going to give you emotional balance and stress reduction, immunity enhancement, and also the clutter in your mind that goes away. So listen to it, completely focus. I'll tell an illustration of what I thought focus was. See, usually when we have an ensemble or concert, there's multiple instruments, right? So jazz also in particular, but in Indian music also there. So they have this drone music. They start that person starts, and then the drone will be going on continuously. He will do the same. That's called tambura, right? It goes on. The drone goes on, right? And then a flute comes in, drum comes in, a piano comes in, or something like that. So many instruments join, and then you forget about the drone, even though it is going on continuously. You know, the person I know who is very meditative, very focused, he was able to listen to the drone all the concert. See, that is the focus that they have. And we may not have that much focus. At least you follow the raises of the music and calming down, and then following the emotional surge of the music and then going down. So if you get caught in the narration, sometimes you may not be able to realize how much you are involved in the music. Otherwise, it's really pretty nice. Okay. So this is the tip for today. Just allow yourself to get immersed in beautiful composition by great composers. Beethoven, for example. Remember the Moonlight Sonata that he had? I have all his arrangements. When you listen to them, I don't pay attention to anything. I just listen to Beethoven, his rendering. The girl who is blind, she was there, and he goes, and her mother is there. Then the mother tells she wants to talk to you, and then Beethoven talks to the girl, and the girl, I think that is the story, something on this slide, where the girl says, "I want to see the moonlight." But she cannot see anything. Then he goes and composes this Moonlight Sonata, and then he gives it to her, and she really feels like I have seen the moon. So the kind of emotional surge he caused in her made her realize how the moonlight would be, how pleasant and beautiful it is. So musicians are special people, and musicians that are really going for the music's sake, not for the benefits of music, not for the accumulation of whatever that comes out. That's how West has made it much more difficult for the musicians to realize their inner perfection, right? So you don't have to judge people according to how much name or fame or wealth or whatever they did, but it is how best they are taking you to that state. If that musician feels that state and lives it, that is transmitted to us. This is what I told my son. Okay, you enjoy, you go deeper, not in a selfish way, but really discovering the sea of music. Music is a sea, right? It is not like a limited. So once he engaged in that, he was very happy because the moment he wanted to take music, I know how much he loves the trumpet, how much he was playing and all that. Then all my colleagues, doctors, they said, "Oh, he's going to be in poor house. You know, he's not going to be like you. He's going to be in poor house." I said, "Well, I want him to be happy. I want him to really express himself. You know." And then he's going to be self-reliant on that. But he has a talent, he has something probably divine, God given. So let him explore it, you know. I think he's very happy now. He's a band teacher. He teaches high school kids, you know, band, and he's very happy with creating art. He never misses his practice, and that's where he is completely involved. In the beginning, he was very hyperactive as a child, very, very small child, right? But he was not like a destructive child, more like a active. But all that has calmed down because he was practicing music. That is firmly what I believe. So the school wanted to start him on some medication. And because I am involved, I told them gently, it is not needed. I will take care of it, don't worry. And then he came out of the hyperactivity without anything. And then he was able to focus and do wonderfully well. Okay. So that's what I want to say about my take on music. I'm not a musician, but I have a audiophile. You can say that. And I kind of listen to the music, I enjoy it. And actually, there are programs from India. Now they are streaming. These are programs celebrating previous artists. The writers are from, but ultimately we get the concert, listen to it, you know, and we enjoy that, you know. And then they are playing music when I grew up, even before me. So those ancient tunes are pretty strong. They resonate very well with a lot of people, you know. And then there's something else too. If you play Baroque music, 16th century classical music, Western classical music, or Indian music, the plants, they experimented that, the plants grew much better versus very hard music that they played and that kind of withered the plants. So the life responds to beautifully composed music. That's so I think ultimate solution. Okay. So I hope you got something out of it. I really enjoyed presenting this tape this today. You know, so if you have any questions, you can submit them to me. And I was today. I think Daryl said something about. I was telling him about EMR in some context this morning. I was in his room. They were talking about. I don't know how it has come, but we talked about EMS a little bit, but the topic was different, right? And he mentioned maybe I should give a talk on EMR and how they are saving lives. You know, I was on that very early, one of the very early persons to adopt them, and also really encourage people to adopt EMRs because the doctor's handwriting is not legible. And then because the doctors think pretty fast, and the more fast do you think the less legible the writing is? It's not an excuse, but I'm telling you how that happens. So I'm all for legible writing in EMR, and also coordinating a lot of care around the country and a lot of benefits. I used to talk to everybody on 2008. I kind of championed the cause of EMR. So, but I was disillusioned by the adoption that they made. It is 100% they should have done. The commercial angle has taken over, and what could have been very easy with the open source, now they made it commercial. So, but adoption also is very, very little. If you take the financial industry, they adopt the technology maybe 80-90%. Where if you take as a whole the health industry, even though they have some CAT scans, CMOs, and all that, but in terms of regular care, regular people, it's only 40% maybe. That's also I'm being very generous. So I fought with everybody. I fought in the sense I fought for the cause of EMRs because it will improve the patient care, patient quality care. So I'm going to talk about that and then see. I'm going to tell you not only the EMR used now and how you can make it as armamentarium for you for personalized care. That's what I'm championing now. I want people to take responsibility for themselves, by their health and wellness, and really empower themselves with the tools that they could do so that they can prevent a lot of things. They can be proactive about their health. So I'm going to talk in that spirit about EMR, how they are going to do that. And other thing I told people, I will tell again, I'm going to do this Saturday morning session, which is called the Satsang. That means Association of Good People, to explore the truths of life. And this one is about how you can realize who you are. Okay, self-exploration, self-realization. That is only for people who are really interested, not casually, but really interested, and they want to, submit themselves to, invitation. And if they are interested, they can send me a DM. Only then I'll send them the Zoom link, and so okay, close knit, very deep discussions will be there. Not asserting, but probing and going deeper within our own minds. If you are interested, let me know. Then I'll send you the Zoom link. It will happen on a Saturday. We are thinking between the 10 a.m. Central to 12 noon, something like that. That would be ideal for Indians and also West Coast and also East Coast. That's why I chose that time. Saturday will be easy for me too. So that's about it. And I hope you learned this. You enjoyed this tips I'm giving every day. This is the third week we're starting. It's only on the weekdays at 8 o'clock. Today I came a little late because I was engulfed in doing something, and by the time I realized it was past 8 o'clock. I was busy with something important. Anyway. So thank you. Thank you for coming and listening. And anybody has any questions or any comments, you can come up before I close. All right, I will see you again tomorrow or sometime in the morning. When I find the time, I just jump up. So, but I don't want to promise any specific time in the morning. But in the evening, 8 o'clock, I try to come here. Thank you very much. I'll see you then. Bye.